Good morning. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Very well, thank you, Amai. Good morning. Good morning, Lorena. How are you? Well, I'd like to greet everybody, all of the ones that are here today. I'm very happy to see you again. I understand that today Lorena is taking the space, but I'd like to greet everybody briefly and give you a few recommendations. I want to tell you some things about how to advance our diploma course as the best possible. So please get a great greeting from the FIMI team. We are very happy to be able to have the 6th edition of this diploma course. And as well, I would like to mention some recommendations. You know that we have 3 hours of connection, and we want to be the most on time possible. Because that's why we want to start precise on time and make a call for everybody coming in 10 minutes early, 5 minutes early, so we can start right on time. And also, we are committing as well to close every session, every class with punctuality as well. So this is a give, so we can have clarity that we know that everybody has a lot of things to do, but this time that you're giving this course, you feel good, you feel respected in your times. We want to start right on time and finish right on time. Another topic of why we want to work our punctuality, because it's a value, but behind all this preparation, there's a team, a logistical team, and particularly the interpreters, who we also have to take care of and be careful with our time, as well our tutors, considering these are services that are specifically considered for the hours that the diploma course is uh, what we have agreed. So we want everybody, the tutors, the participants, and everybody, all of us who are in the logistics, we can commit to start and end on time. So that would be all. I want to thank everybody again and wish that we have a really beautiful day. Thank you, Amai, and thank you, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day. You're having a wonderful day, a wonderful afternoon, a wonderful night. We are going to look for that punctuality. I think it's key. And of course, I commit as well as a facilitator today to right on time. We're going to have a break, 10-minute break at 9:30. We know it's a short time, but of course we need that as well. Particularly those who are here late in the morning and at night. We're going to start with the Abiyayala group for the small invocation. Good morning, everybody. The invocation, I'm going to start it. We're going to raise our hands. This, for those of you that it's the evening or afternoon, it's different, but for us, it's the morning. So it's very important to feel the sun, and the day that is starting, connect with the sun. My brothers and sisters who are, I want to ask you that my brothers and sisters are here to give us strength, to help us understand. Don't forget that we are humans and there's still a lot of things we don't know, but please guide us. Don't forget us. We put our hands down to the earth and we ask our Mother Earth to give us strength to walk with strong feet. Don't forget us. Don't abandon us. To give us also the strength that we need. We know that we've made mistakes, but we need to open our mind so we can understand what our Mother Earth wants to tell us. We ask you, Mother Earth, to forgive us, to give us this understanding that we need, to show us the guide, the path, to be able to decipher what you want from us. We know we've lost a lot of what you've taught us from our elders, understood from you, but I ask you to forgive us and to give us the strength to continue and be able to have this knowledge again. Thank you, Mother Earth. I'm going to stand up for a moment, and I want to ask our brothers and sisters who have a lot of this knowledge so we can understand us. Please illuminate us and give us strength that we need. Please accept us with the knowledge of our elders, grandmothers, and grandfathers, and illuminate us. I ask you for the sisters and brothers who are in a constant struggle. Don't abandon them. Please give them that strength so to not be eliminated from the path, because we know a lot of them have fallen to because of defending our knowledge. We ask you and we give you thanks. I'm sorry, I can't hear. The connection is not working. Could you hear me? No, the last part, no. In the last part, we asked air, which is where our elders that are not here with us anymore belong. That to illuminate us and guide us and give us strength to be able to fight, to defend our knowledge, to protect our knowledge, because many times we've been moved out of the path, out of the way, to because we're considered to not know everything. And we know we can't thank all the elements, fire, earth, and air, that we want to ask them to not forgive us, to not abandon us. Thank you. Great. Thank you to Rocio and Abi Ayala to share with us this invocation that reminds us the connection, the strength, the energy that comes from the sacred Father Sun, sacred Mother Earth, sacred water, sacred wind, sacred fire, and that they are the ones that give us life. Water is in our body, the earth is in our body, the fire is in our body, the wind is in our body. The mountains, we come from the mountains, we feed from the strength, we get nutrition from the strength of the mountains. All the elements are within us, and we are part of these elements. Thank you to the team of the Abi Ayala team. So we're going to continue our second session today in modal 1, which is spirituality, indigenous spirituality. We're going to have a recap. We're going to do it this way. Last session, we left 2 questions. What things am I going to do in my personal life to give life to my cosmovision, my people's cosmovision as a researcher? And the other one was, how can I what difficulties do I face when I live spirituality? we asked you to upload the questions to the platform. There's some other questions that we're gonna go into today. This is just a recap from today. I'd like to ask Sabato, what was your answer for the first question? What actions are you going to do in your personal life to give life to your people's cosmovision as an Indigenous researcher? I'm also going to ask Rocio, who's here. And finally, we're going to ask Negumi to prepare yourself to share with us about your answer to this question. Sabato, you're welcome, please. What are you going to do to awaken and protect your people's cosmovision in your personal life and as a researcher?
Yeah.
Your mic is closed.
Right now, I'm in the early stages of reclaiming this connection. I have been listening and speaking with my elders and even the youth in my community. But what I plan on doing moving forward is to document what they have said, to keep it in storage somewhere, even if it's just for us to reflect on and to look back on what our thoughts were and what our memories were, and compare them if we ever need to do any in-depth research into our own culture. I love to listen and speak with the elders and just hear and feel what the community has to say. Yeah, energetically, and dreams as well. Dreams help to reaffirm things that have been said by my elders and by my fellow sisters and brothers in the community. And moving forward, the plan is to get voice recordings, but also to create a space where we can all in my community have access to this information.
Thank you very much. We're going to ask Rocio to go ahead and share. You can also do this voluntarily. What actions can we do in our personally to reaffirm this? One of the actions I want to implement, first of all, is to have forums with different communities, making allies with community representatives to strengthen our ways of life and generate awareness that we are an important alternative. We had also asked Negumi if you are around.
Are you available to answer, Megumi?
Yes, just 3 minutes. Please wait 3 minutes.
Thank you. So, please share with us, what are you going to do in your personal life as a researcher to strengthen and retrieve the worldview of your original peoples? We're hearing Negumi. We're listening to you, Negumi.
Yes, I just okay. Can you hear? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
I never had this perspective until I took lesson on spirituality, because such things are not taught at Japanese university. However, it's very important, is in specific for indigenous people, and spirituality is extremely important. I would like to conduct research on leaf pools, their ecosystems, and traditional use by indigenous people. We have in Japan, a shallow coastal area surrounding by coral reef, home and great diversity of living culture and foundation for fishing and indigenous community. So I would like to focus my research this topic. Yes, that's it.
Thank you, Megumi. You're really kind. Now we're going with Habiba. What can you? Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Habiba?
Sorry, I just connected. I was blocked in traffic. I just made my way home now.
Okay. The question is the one that we left in the last assignment. The assignment is, what actions are you going to take personally to wake up and to retrieve the worldview of our peoples, of our original people? You can say it spontaneously. Maybe an action could be listen to the elders. I don't know what you consider, what you're going to do in order to retrieve the worldview of your people, to give life as an indigenous researcher. Okay, now you have the mic.
Okay, thank you. What I will do is, first of all, create a space where exchanges can be done between the young and the elderly people. Might be we get to commemorate ceremonies which were celebrated in old days, get to cook traditional meals and exchange. It will be a way of reconnecting with my roots actually. Thank you.
Thank you, Habiba. The idea of this question, that we will not be able we are going to try to listen with wisdom the worldview of our people, our grandpa and grandma, our ancestors, of our women and the communities. If we do not open ourselves, we can't do that. That's why the question. It's not just to do, it's not just an exercise, but try together, but first personally. Search in within me in this research. Search. So as a colleague said, with this diploma, I started to open myself up. So the worldview of our people is a strength, a system. I'd like to see if there's one more person to answer this first question. What am I going to do as a person, as a researcher, as a woman of the original people, to wake up the worldview in my lab, the indigenous worldview, and apply it as a researcher in for my people? Is there anyone who could answer this in a voluntarily way?
Yeah, Grace want to talk? Grace.
Welcome, Martha. Then we will hear Grace. Okay, we're going to start by Martha, then follows Grace. Is it okay for you? Okay, thank you. Okay, I wanted to share what I feel to work in this research. First of all, listen to the elders and write down what they say, because many of our history, they are told, but they are not passed on in books. So this is a work that gives me happiness to share with the elders around the peoples and listen to them. And also, I would like to invite the youth that they may hear and understand our reality. As we see today, the technology is really in the youth. So the youth in our in our community, they're talking about technology, and they forget about the storytellings and other indigenous topics. So this research gives me strength to recover the knowledge of our people and also share with the people. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Martha. So we're following now. Next, Grace. Welcome, Grace. Now it's your turn,
Okay.
Grace. Okay.
Can I be heard? Can you hear me, please?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. We hear you.
Okay. So, to answer the question, the actions that I would like to take to bring the world view of my people is that, first of all, I will align my actions, my life, and everyday activities with the cultural values of my people. I will ensure that I live and relate with my indigenous people. These days, due to social life activities and then educational background, a lot of families have forgotten about their indigenous languages. Young girls and boys, the youths, have forgotten their indigenous languages because of education. So they believe that education, when you speak English and other languages, that is when you have arrived. They have forgotten their roots, that indigenous languages are key. They are their source. That's where they are coming from. And as such, they have also forgotten about all the traditional and cultural beliefs. I remember when I was young, once it's around 7 p.m. in the evening or night, all the children comes out under the moonlight. We all of us, we gather, we sit and we play. There are some games that we play under the moon, and then storytelling that educates young ones. These days, all these are gone. So, as a researcher moving forward or going forward, I will make sure that I relate with my indigenous people, especially the young ones and the children. I will relate to them in indigenous language. I will teach them indigenous language. I will tell them stories that talks about their origin, how the Mother Earth and all the beautiful works of the Mother Earth. I will teach them. I will also make sure that I will respect elders. I will align my life and my activities where elders are, so that I will learn the knowledge of the elders, of the creation. There are a lot of knowledge and information that elders have to give or have to pass on, that the children of these days are no longer interested in. They are decided to be living a Western life. And as the result of this research, I will go home and then make them to understand that even though that education is key, that there is also need for them to align themselves in the Mother Earth and all the values of our people, indigenous people, that is key to whatever life we are living on Earth. Thank you very much, and over from me.
Okay, we see there someone is raising. Halim, I think she was the one that was raising. I saw two hands raising there, two persons raising their hands. So you can participate to close up with this first round.
I also want to contribute to this
Quiero
question.
también contribuir a esta pregunta,
Number one.
a la
So,
pregunta número 1.
as an indigenous researcher, I
Como una
live my
investigadora
people's
indígena,
worldview by speaking our
voy a
language,
recuperar la cosmovisión de mi pueblo, recuperando
our
la lengua
traditional knowledge and
y
maintaining
recuperando
strong relationship with
los
the land,
conocimientos
because
tradicionales y hacer una conexión con la
in
tierra,
this
con los elementos.
region, the indigenous peoples
En nuestra
are
región, los
deeply
pueblos
connected
indígenas
with the land
Están
because
profundamente
of
conectados con la
the
tierra.
rotational farming system, which is known as the Zoom cultivation here.
Es,
So we have
y
a
ellos
strong connection
se han
with the
conocido
land.
que trabajan
And I
bastante en la
also
cultivación de la
participate in
tierra.
ceremony,
Quiero
learn
participar en las
from elders,
ceremonias para
and pass the
aprender de
knowledge
ellos,
to the next generations.
para poder
In my
transmitir el
daily life,
conocimiento
I
a
will
las
uphold
generaciones que
values
vienen.
of respect, reciprocity,
También
and
quiero
community,
practicar los valores, la
while
reciprocidad
challenging the
con mi
mainstream
comunidad.
norms in our context, which is
En este contexto,
known as the Bengali
como
culture.
bengalís, como cultura
Bengalis
bengalís,
are the mainstream population here, and also
la población
centering indigenous ways of knowing
se tiene
and
que
being. Thank
concentrarse
you.
en los conocimientos indígenas y reconectarse. Gracias. Thank, thank you. Okay, there was another person that was raising her hand. We can hear her. She was Omediko. Welcome.
Hello.
She was Omediko.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. My action that I will take will be like to be connected directly in my community, and also I will strengthen and cover like the Fulani community as indigenous worldview in my area, and I will also promote our cultural value, our language and practices, and also we will involve with our elders, support youth, and encourage respect for land and our tradition. Thank you.
Your mic is closed, teacher. Priscilla, I think she erased her. We're going to close up this round with Priscilla. Okay, we hear you.
Okay, thank you for this another
Hola,
beautiful
sí,
privilege.
muchas gracias.
Yes. So,
Sí,
being an indigenous researcher,
ser una persona indígena,
first of all, I have to open the indigenous intellectual eye. Then I should be a keen observer of our indigenous ways of life, and then constantly I have to approach the people, especially those who have vast knowledge on traditional knowledge. And I want to organize more workshops on folklore, folk tales. And then because these days, as the former speaker has said, that we are totally influenced by the Western technology. Therefore, the children have no more time for this giving and learning, teaching and learning of our traditional values. The global intellectual property is greatly advancing towards us. So I want to advocate for the inclusion of traditional practices and values in school curriculum in indigenous area. And then indigenous music training, we have indigenous musical instrument. That also, if resource permit, I just want to set up training institute so that they can learn the indigenous music, and then they will keep alive the traditional values. That is my small view that I can put forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Priscilla, and to all of you, each one of you, for everything you've shared. And here's our next question: how are we going to wake up? How are we going to wake up in our lives, in my practice, in my life as a researcher, and then how can I wake up the cosmovision of the original peoples within my family and in my community? And this is key. The family is key because this gives coherence. I'm talking about cosmovision, worldview. I believe in this. How am I going to start waking it up, this way of life, in my family? I think this is a great commitment so that we stop thinking that cosmovisions, the people's cosmovision is backward or witchcraft. And of course, we know this is not true. Our people's worldview is a way of life and for life of all life network and of all of us that are in this web and this system of life. People, cosmovision, humanity, where we're not more. Our responsibility is to care that home, this place, the cosmos, Mother Earth, and care for ourselves. We're going to close this recap and we're going into another moment. Our topic today is spirituality and its support for Indigenous research. We've prepared a forum with 2 speakers. I think one of them is already known for you, and every day she's working hard for this diploma course. And I think, are we going to project your bio? I think our forum is walking as an Indigenous researcher from the strength of the spirituality and cosmovision of our peoples. How are we going to walk as Indigenous researchers, not from the Western epistemology? Of course, it's given to us, but as Indigenous researchers, we want to walk, we want to make our path from and with the strength of of our people's cosmovision. We've asked two speakers. First is Liliana. She was born in the Mije area, from Mije Mountains of Oaxaca. Father and mother are Ayuk. She's the mother of Pablo Anuak, and currently she's a researcher and independent professional from Santa Maria Tlahuitoltepec. She holds a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in social anthropology from the National School of Anthropology and History, and completed her doctoral studies in anthropology at the Ibero-American University in Mexico City. She serves as a civil society advisor council in Mujeres from 2012 to 2018, and today she's a member of Civil Society Advisory Group from the Mexico UN Women 2022 to 2024. Liliana is a woman who's walked the path. She's an original people's woman, as we can see in her bio, and she has a very valuable experience in research. We have her here today as a speaker. And our second speaker, who is with us today, the idea is to hear them, what path they've gone. She's an expert in research, and we have the other guest. We're having his bio in a minute. Ivan Norato Garcia. He is also a renowned spiritual leader and professional of the Maya Quiche peoples. He was born in the ancestral territory of Totinacapan, Guatemala, in the Chunipica. He is 56 years of age. He has dedicated his life to serving his people and revitalizing Maya thought, working as an or spiritual guide, accompanying ceremonies, therapeutic processes, and healing processes from the Maya perspective worldview. He's a trained economist. Norato Garcia has integrated his academic knowledge with the ancestral wisdom of his people. Also developing as a Maya Quiche therapist and researcher committed to strengthening community bonds, spiritual balance, the recovery of traditional knowledge, and his work bridges modern science and indigenous spirituality, addressing topics such as holistic health, community-based economy, and the rights of indigenous peoples. Both of them, Ivan and Liliana, are our two guest speakers for this forum. We want to give a warm welcome to each one, and we are going to start our forum. I would also like to ask you if you have your camera open to pay attention, because they are going to share their path, what they've done, what they've walked, and what they've confronted, what they've experienced as researcher, as a guide of a spiritual leader. In case of Ivan, if you have any questions or comments, please write them down, and in the end we can have questions, a moment of questions. So, and we're going to do it in this order. First Diana and then Ivan. What is it for you? What is the indigenous spirituality for you? We want to hear you, Liliana. Thank you so much for this space, for this aperture, this dialogue. Lorena, precisely what I want to say is that this first question takes us to, it allows us, talking about spirituality, it allows us to think about spirituality as a way of life. And in the particular exercise, we're talking about multiple spirituality because we're so diverse, but we can connect in a certain moment. One of the things that connect us, all of us here, is the relation with our Mother Earth. And so I believe that this spirituality in the original peoples and in our everyday work connects us primarily. I think we should do a very deep dive, a very within ourselves, and ask what relation and what grade of relation do I have with the earth, with the element? How do I relate? I understand as well that sometimes, because of our life histories, we don't have that link that to the earth. But there's a great diversity of relations, and spirituality brings us to position ourselves, to place ourselves, to ask ourselves, how am I connected to the earth physically, but symbolically and spirituality as well, for spiritually. How am I, where am I speaking? How do I connect with the earth? This is very important because we've been taught to forget that we have this connection with the earth and with everything that happens. And this makes this process, colonization, epistemic colonization, makes us separate us from our environment where we were born. And I realized this when I finished my college degree and my master's degree, and I went back to my community to do some research, and I had not realized about the importance of what I had lived in my surroundings until, and this is also, I thank the academic world, because it's given me tools to systematize. I'm not inventing things or knowledge. The knowledge is there, but sometimes what they give us is a way to systemize this information, to organize it. And I go there and I see that there's a very complex thought of culture, of language, of politics, of economic relations, of identity, of narratives, power relations, all this gender, class, economic class relations. And look at this, when you start remembering and understanding everything that is, at least in the Mije people, my people, in a very specific territory from the Oaxaca nation in Mexico, there's a very strong relation with our life that has to do with something that's very important, which is the collective work. And a lot of times for free, this allows us to relate ourselves in a very different way with the earth, with the people, with the economics, with your production, free work. At least I have this moral mandate and judicial within our community to serve my peoples at least 14 years for free. And this is a rule. No one can escape this. Imagine that I've just, because of my academics, I had to move out, and I just came back 2 years ago when I gave my first service. I still have 13 more years. I've only done one. There's people from my age, women are my age, that have already finished because they didn't move out and they stayed there. So the spirituality is very much interlinked, very structural and systematic, but also very much related to the territory. How are we going to relate to our environment, to our social dynamics, with the economics? And this is going to going to make your spirituality. How I created myself. I built myself as a Liliana from Tlatehualtepec. What allowed me to construct myself and identify myself with as an AU woman. And it goes through you from the deepest part. And it shapes how we're going to relate, how I'm going to relate with my environment, and very strongly symbolically. And this is a case, and as I'm sharing life experience, how your dream is shaped by your environment to find a certain answer, to find certain roots. I'm like a woman who I dream a lot, and it's I miss it a lot when I don't dream. And I've talked to others. I don't know if I'm suffering of stress or what it is, but I think it's something that I have there. I dream constantly. I remember my dreams, and I remember my dreams from way back 10 years, 5 years, and I still have these dreams. But what I'm getting at is that when you are looking for an answer about existence or any question you have, you can find answers in your dreams, and you can have this dialogue and understand this phenomena in there's no tool that pedagogical tool from the academic world, which is not going to give you answers. An example would be,
that our Terran people exist. These leaders, these spiritual leaders, are sponsors, or the oracle in the case of Africa, where they give very good big importance to the peoples that they use there in Africa. Or somebody that works on oracle topic. I don't know, we call it here in Chaman. In other places they call it the sorcerer, and other the reads the oracle. So they have different names in different places. That these are people that they help you to understand, because they read your situation, your life. So I was telling them, and I was asking to a woman, who gives you the talent, the gift? From science, you need that data. How do you get that gift? So they used to tell me, the we get it from the giver of life. So we ask, who is that giver of life? How is he, or how is she? What's the protocol that you follow for you to know that you have that gift, even further than what we can understand? does it has gender? Is it female, male? So we have that kind of question. I did that kind of question until one day I dreamed I have a health situation. Somebody in my dream told me, somebody without gender, without face. So somebody was telling me, see this scene, see, and he told me something really important. He told me something really important. Then so that pain that you have, it has solution, you know, it has solution, and you're going to get well with this plant, with this plant, with this. I see the flower, and immediately related to that flower, I knew where to get the flower from. So I dreamt 2 times. Then I understood the way how the people they get the gift. So I could understand. So it came down that need to understand that data that I needed to get in order to be rational. So because we want the knowledge, we want to be accurate about that data. So we want to hear. So the hearing is in the dreams as well. It is really profound. We need to check and reconnect with our heart and listen to that level. So I close up with this. I'm going to give the mic to our brother. Now we're going with Ivan Tamarata. He's going. So from the spirituality, what's for you spiritual? Speaking in indigenous language. He's continues speaking in indigenous language. I was greeting you a while ago, a second ago. I'm a Quiche indigenous. I was born in Chuanapana. So we just live. So I was listening to Liliana. So I'm really happy. So to hear her. So it fulfills what my mom told me once ago. Speaking in indigenous language. Speaking in indigenous language. And that's a big truth. I see the face of Liliana. She has a face. Martha, she has face. Sabato has face. Habiba, all of them has face. I can see their smiles. Megumi, I see their fam. I can see your faces. All of you have faces. You have hands. We are alive. There's the spirituality in what we can't touch and not reason. We just open up to feel. When we get into the unknown field to the mind, but what is sensible to feel. And that's why we say, speaking in indigenous language, in Spanish they say you dreamt, but really you did not dream. It was a weaving that it happened in your life while you were sleeping. That's a challenge, not to translate, but to understand what we are sharing. And effectively, thank you, Lorena. I'm indigenous, and this is my first service, and I was listening to Lorena. That's really good to serve 14 years. Nothing is more, nothing is less. That is good. That's just your service. My service just started. I know it just started. I don't know when it will finish. When I become part of Cosmos, you're going to call me, and I am sure I will be with you. I will be serving there. The service doesn't end. It's forever. They also call us sorcerer around here. Don't worry. Sometimes they say it to offend us, but I understood that the word sorcerers in the history, it comes from this culture that comes a way of despise to the life. So it is an honor to that they tell you wise. I don't know if I am wise, but I just know that I exist and I'm here. Us as APIHAP, the Spanish-speaking people tell us we are the accountant of time. In my language, it would be wahla. I am counting. I'm counting the time. I'm not that. I am akif. What this corresponds to me as adhit. I am here as I am in this place on this table. I see and hear a series of difficulties and also happiness, joy. So someone, an elder was telling me, a really old person was telling me, Ish in my language is day, clarity. Is a corn, a young corn, but also it means family. But that's the service we bring. So once they told me that my service as Ahki is to help people, women, men, kids, whoever they need the service, to show them that there's clarity in this world, because this world is full of darkness. Uh, yeah, nowadays everywhere we see despair, distress. We have a lot of negative things, like they incarcerate us, they kill us, they immobilize us. How do we get out of that? How to break up these negative things? That's why we say in Spanish, and that's our spirituality, to get into what is in my mind and try to understand from my heart, from my soul. Chakuhenapa, speaking in indigenous language, go to the essence of life. Whereas that's where we understand the sacred. For us in Spanish, we say sacred, lohola, loholahte, loholahte, lohola, speaking in indigenous language, always with the lohola. If somebody is here, they can speak Quiche, they could certainly understand me, because for us, lohola is what is most valued, the what is most beautiful that we have found in life. Isn't the rain sacred? How much do you pay for water? You don't pay anything. But when you realize another way of thinking, when we think about uh, marketing and commercial things, we pay. But we collaborate to get water, at home. But we recognize what sacred is. Mother Earth, of course, I accept that I come from the essence of cosmos, that I'm just a particle of cosmos within this cosmos. I'm not dominated. I came here to serve. I'm here to serve. Because there were people that served me, they helped me in this travel in the world. There are people that left home. There are people that already brought light. There are people that already served me. So what am I going to leave for my community, for my son, for my grandkids? What am I going to leave for neighbors, for my neighbors? Hope, light, life. Yes, but somebody told me that you can't eat that. Yes, but it gives you energy to continue to advance. Okay, I hope I hope I have shared my spirituality from this the feeling of my akiche. I don't know. I don't know if we need to. I think we're good. I think we're good. just to talk about spirituality is a lifetime. So Lilian even shared with us about that. How do you incorporate spirituality in the indigenous peoples in your researchers? Liliana has the mic. Yes, I was waiting. I was listening profoundly to Ivan. One of the things that I learned and that I continue learning is that in our life, in our collective life, the dialogue, conversation is a really important vein, and it is really good to hear as a methodology for the research. We don't see in books when you check the textbooks and they ask you what are going to be your methodological tools. You will never see dialogue, conversation, and listening. And we need to understand how we are working with this listening and dialogue in the collective life. We need to check the proposals, the methodological proposals, and the tools, and how to get close to the peoples as researchers. So we need to make up from this individual life. I collect information from the person. Therefore, so sometimes we see in this methodological perspective, as person we see it. There are new tools that they are working on, but I believe the dialogue, the conversation, and listening is one of the main fundamental element tools in order to not incorporate, just to be alive in this relation, in a spiritual relation. So to get what we are looking for, this dialogue. I was saying that there are different ways of approaching or incorporating the spirituality in this people, in this. I'm going to talk about territory. Because I want to think in what Nasomi lives. I try to imagine her community, her Grace or Halima. Each one of them, they have different peoples there, and so there are diversity in our people. So I think right now, coming back to my territory, that the peoples we have, let me see, how can I explain this? From this social structure, we have different order, different level of the different system of what I need to get, depending on what you have done in a collective way. Let's say the spiritual guides, the oracles, as teacher Ivan said, it's a gift. I don't know if it's a gift or a role or nature gives you. So in a moment of your life, it formalizes in a spiritual way, and you go with that your whole life.
This is something, our level of participation. I have a family that are my aunts are spiritual guides. They have that role to help the authorities, to help the community. They would know what dialogue they have in their own context, because we don't have this capacity to understand, because we don't live it. So it's very important when we talk about a situated investigation, we can get closer. But how that example is, how is this done? When I have this dream, I understand this level of communication, and with who. Another level of participation is that in the community, everybody, this collective, everybody, men and women, we are born and we incorporate it in our way of life, that we have to give to the community. You have to work for the community, and it's been regulated because sometimes the elders, 60 or 70 years old, continue to work. So, but we're trying to regulate it as a way of our own governance, to use certain, to hold certain roles, administrative roles, and this is part of the municipal government. We start little by little till we reach higher roles, like the municipal president, and there's no party. We select ourselves. This is not for politics. We are giving to the community. This is another level of participation. When I did this research and answering precisely, talking about this question, how do you incorporate your spirituality in your research? When I reach, when I go, I arrive with all these tools, all these theoretical constructs. I have my little, my suitcase as a researcher and my boots an anthropologist. I was transformed into an anthropologist. I had a bag, I had my sandals, I became the stereotypes. And sometimes you eat it all up, and now I feel like an anthropologist. And so you get there, you go back, you have this framework, theoretical framework, that in your bag, and you arrive there. One of the things that happened to me when I came back is that I realized that when you don't give importance to that, what happens in your environment, and it is very important to be trained and have a perspective in theoretical, in economics, and connect with another way of understanding and seeing the world. What the anthropology taught me, I don't know if there's any other anthropologists, we have to listen and we have to get the data because they're there. How does this place smell? What do you listen to? What are you hearing? What do you see? So when we were told, arrive to the community, and what's the smell? Well, I smell maybe smoke. Oh, so what is this smoke? And so maybe that question could be there. What type of trees are being used? What is the relation with the people and the trees? Are there wood collectors? What do you see? Trash. Well, where's it from? Why is there this type of trash there? Why is there cloth in the trash? And so this colors, what colors are there in that community? Really, I didn't have this before. I didn't have it in me. I started learning this, walking the path. How do you expect to see the data? Numbers, graphs? No, it's there. We have to connect. We have to listen. We are being trained. Do I want to see this, or do I want to go into internet and look at data, graphs, statistics? But the data is all there. When I arrive and I don't realize, and I get frustrated a bit because I come as part of the community, but then I had left and I had been trained. But it turns out that it is a very big challenge, that when you are researching your own community, it's not the same thing when you go to another community, because the other community is, it's going to be different. It's going to be rare, that what you're not familiar with. Oh, the food, the music, the place is all strange. And maybe because this estrangement, why, and so we can ask, why is this happening, or what is it? And when I get there, nothing is different for me. It's normal. So the music, and my peoples are very musical. There's lots of music. You wake up with music, you go to sleep with music. There's, during different celebrations, and it's normal. I already know it. It's not anything that would cause me, to me, academia had not taught me how I had to dialogue with this. It had told me, go make some interviews. But in this interview, I didn't have any I am embarrassed to interview my mother, my neighbor. No. I was feeling embarrassed. That's why I allowed time to pass. And I understood with my father who's listening to me from the sky, from the heavens. I always conversed with my father, always. He was always very interested in my path, and I would talk to him, and listening to him, I would say I realized the level of importance that he gave to each moment of life and the reflections he would have. I started listening and I started seeing that what I was living through was very, very important. And I was looking at the traditional governance systems from the state, from the political parties, and it's two totally different ways to construct citizenship. How do you build citizenship in an indigenous community to give service, to administer public life? And it's a totally different philosophical point of view. It's a totally different build. These societies are built totally different, and therefore the citizenship is built in a different way. And this is where I placed in the center that I had to understand what each word meant that was within this knowledge framework. So, for example, in the political arena, in the social arena, in the politics or the services, there's one word that is very important, that is kurunoch. But for me, it was so normal. I wasn't looking at it. But when I started listening, oh, what does it mean? It can't be translated into Spanish. There's a word that is authority. Maybe it's the same one in English, authority. So you relate this to the people that are named by a state to do an administrative function in public life, judicially, politically. So that's the authority, the people that hold the power. This cannot be translated in the Mije community. There is no, it's not the same. There is no concept. Why not? I was asking myself, why can't it be translated? And then you understand there's a order in public life that is fundamented, that is built in how we built our society. I understood that kudung and the authority, and I'm going to try to just use this word, how you built authority in the Mije community does not pass through power. The objective is not to hold the power. The objective is that when you reach this place to govern, the people give you a lot of work so that you can represent the people through the administration of the work, because the work is what's going to allow to administer public life. Your work, cleaning the streets, you administrate justice, you give justice, you track the trees, you administer water. You're working, everybody's working. All of us are working, and this makes us brothers and sisters. Not all of us have power, but all of us work. So in this work, everybody pushes the community life, it sustains community life. So this is where I understood how spirituality is so strongly connected, because you're building subjectively a very different relation with your environment. And of course, there's so many more things, but that's one of the few things that I was able to see. Thank you for sharing about your path as a researcher and all these findings you found. I would like to go with Norato to ask this: how do you incorporate your indigenous cosmovision into your research? Yes, very good. Well, I see what I've learned. I remember an experience that I had in another town. It's called Chichicastenango. We elaborated a document. We presented it to the university, and they told us this was not valid. that it was no good. Well, why? Well, because it doesn't have a bibliographical with certain authors backing it up. And with this, I just took my glasses out, and that's how I put in my spirituality and point of view. I removed the glasses that I was given to understand that I'm a writer, that I'm a server, I'm a secretary of my people where I go. Anywhere I go, I'm going to collaborate to visualize to for our knowledge of my peoples and other peoples to be known. And how I have to remove these glasses that university or any school or whatever has put on me, and I'm going to give the information as is, because what the original peoples give are denied, are looked down upon. And I'm sure that your mother, your grandfather, your mother, they knew about medicinal plants. I am sure of this. They knew about being able to rise your spirit when you were sad. I am for sure. They knew how to cure fear. I am certain. And you go to a doctor and talk about this, they tell you this doesn't exist. This doesn't work to remove a baby is crying and crying and crying. It's called mal de ojo. It's we're going to use an egg and we're going to clean them, and we're going to remove this energy that doesn't fit with them. And their doctor's going to tell you that's superstition. That doesn't work. That doesn't exist. So, but we know it's true. How do we take this spirituality? I wouldn't take it and put it elsewhere. I'm going to try to translate. My people are not an object of research. They're a subject of life that gives life. And I'm going to become naked from my professions. And I listen to Liliana, and yeah, I hear this. I remember the weavings, and I remember when I was told, remove all your clothing, and when you're naked, you are going to realize what you are. And that's sometimes we have to do this. Yes, there's procedures, there's methodology, of course, but it cannot determine the knowledge of the people, because as we see the cosmos, it's a diversity of stars. That's we see the truth, and what they tell us, what you can see is true, and what you cannot see is not true. And we know there's a lot of things that we cannot see that are true. We say this in Maya Quiche. My eye is shaking, my mouth is shaking, my arm is shaking, a certain part of my and a doctor, my body's shaking. So a doctor will say, we're going to give you some injections to calm your nerves. If my eye, for us, it's different. If my eye is shaking, I see that someone is someone thinking of you, and you go down, and a man, and then we can say, oh, it's a man with certain characteristics. How can we read this? How can we portray this? The dreams. It's not interpreting the dreams. It's finding the message.
I found my essence. I found my errand. You couldn't see. It could be a little bone, a stone. Everybody builds up his essence, her essence. So the lake starts to talk to you, and talks to you in dream. They don't know about babies and how babies are born, but they teach you how to receive a baby. And this person never received a training in the university. So who is her? The water. The water is the teacher, the essence, the nawah. Nawah, we say it. Na is feel. Wah is essence. When they tell us, when they ask you, did you find your nawah? Because we're looking looking outside for our now is feeling. And well, it's essence. It is that you have to look for your essence within you. You have to communicate with yourself, because sometimes we communicate with everybody, but we don't speak with ourselves, like within us. How to listen to this, the voice of silence. We're trying to understand life with the sounds, but the silence is a way of communicating, and it tells us and orientates, it guides us. So good. That's how you work with worldview. Worldview is a way of life, but it's also a political way of life, communitarian, uh, sharing with people, not with a party. Okay, to wrap up, I would say, in order to say that the coffee is sour, I need to drink it without sugar. If I pour out sugar, its taste is not the same. So that way we're going to advance. That's why we say Ishkosh in my town. What Liliana was sharing with us that I couldn't talk with. For us is Kashko, the service. You're going to keep all the pains of your people. That's why we are always carrying our bag. We put everything there, the pain, the joy, and I don't have the right to share the name of all the people that are suffering with others until life permits and the force lets us to share. Thank you. Thank you, Liliana, Ivan. How do we integrate spirituality? How do you integrate spirituality in your research methodology? That's key for us to listen from you. How worldview and spirituality is integrated in a decolonized research. So we're listening to Liliana. Thank you, Liliana. Thank you. So methodology for research. So I was saying I have uh, my bag of interview with my lenses of how I have this historical from the classical economy, as you can see it. So you can see this lens tells me what I'm coming from. That's the framework and methodological tool. If I go to an interview, my interview must be aligned to this, that we're going to collect reality. It's not the interview as it is. I need to understand that this interview is going to help me to collect this information, that this theoretical framework is telling me what I need to do. So when I talk with the kids and when I talk about political economy, I need to see the relations, the economical impact, the political impact. So my interview is going to say, how do we construct politics, the classical politics? So I have to work with these tools. That's what they teach us. But what I say, sure, it is good, and it's a perk if it's good in some places, but it's not the only way. I wouldn't say that it's not good. To me, that they are tools that we use it, but that's not the only tools that we can use. We don't have authority, moral or epistemic authority to say that it's useful. But there is something that we need to understand. We need to have a perspective, a critical perspective, and a decolonial. How do you construct knowledge? What's knowledge? What are the institutions that regulate this knowledge? At the end, somebody was telling me there what you need to present, and if you get the collected data, that is your bachelor. So that's the reality, and there's in academy, right? And results that they're going to tell us how to do and what it is information. So that's a human construction that is related with power institutions. Obviously, when you go and say, listen, it, I had a dream that there's going to be an accident, and we have to be aware because this truck is going to take, I don't know, that's going to take to the leaders. So they're going to say, oh, you're crazy. No, they talked and they told me that we have to be careful. No, they're going to say, they're going to tell, that's superstition. They don't take care of that, and they don't listen to you. But that's a level of connection that people don't understand. But it's not any person. So people, the majority of people don't listen. So the listening for us as a methodology is really important when we're going to write and when we go to the communities. That's from a point of view. Other point of view would be sometimes it's not. Sometimes you don't need to have tools. You just go and listen and talk with the people. When I used to participate in the places where I shared with my people. The take here is the free work. The indigenous in small villages, they still have that responsibility. Let's say today we need to clean up the streets, so everybody goes to clean up the. Today we have to go and clean up the watershed. Everybody went to clean up the watershed. So today we need to paint the municipality building. So that's a collective work. So you're there, assuming your responsibility as communitarian. At the same, you talk, you listen, you observe, because we also, like as researchers, like external researchers, we are living more years colonized than decolonized. So you want to show yourself like the researcher, you introduce yourself, and you go like colonized researcher, and you ask for time to apply an interview. So this person is going to have their dynamic, the way of how they work. I don't know. So if they don't go to this kind of place with this kind of view, we need to take our interview. So what I did is I used to go with them. I would like to learn about mushrooms. Yes, I want to go and I want to eat and I want to know how is the flavor of that mushroom. So the grandma used to tell us how it is, and so that's the thing that we need to learn. Participate in meetings. That's why it's really important when you're from the community, from the peoples. You need to learn how to listen. You need to listen with other sight and hearing. We need to learn how to identify the categories. I was saying that there's no similar word to the authority. Kudu, there are two words that let me to understand the logic of how to manage public life, and therefore the constructing of citizenship. So here's an example, and then I hope you understand it. What I mean. In Mexico, there's a there's a national commandment or mandate that our level of governance, because this gender thing, it was obliged 50% women, 50% men. Okay, that's an affirmative action to strengthen the participation of women in the public places, in the Senate, in the constitution of the state, the municipality administration. So the political parties must have 50 men, 50 women. So that is logical. It seems like it is good from the feminist point of view. Maybe it could work in some spaces. How do you how do you manage for the political parties to go 50-50? So we're good there. Okay, good. Congratulations. We're gonna have more women in the power. Okay, it's good. It works in certain cases because the colleagues, they want to participate in this political agenda. They have information, they have formation, but what happens when they tell you this must be in a national level and it must go to the different level? What happens when it goes to my community? What do you do when you're Kudu? It means that you have to resign to your family life, familiar life. You need to resign to your work because you're going to dedicate yourself 1 year for your community. And unfortunately, that's a challenge for the community. Generally, in the communities, effectively, we don't put in this kind of spaces to women. We don't give the spaces. Women, they don't participate in my community. They don't participate in assembly, but in my community, they participate. The women that are named to be president, to be, let's say, maybe a law judge, they are women with some characteristic that they must not have a man by her. Let's say, not to have a husband, to be a widow. You have to be widow or without a husband, so you can get a place there. Maybe you could have kids, maybe 2-year kid, maybe 5-year kids. You need to work to maintain your family. In the community, you have to take care of this his kids, her kids, and where she's going to get that resource from. So it's complicated for the woman, but as the state is saying that is obliged to participate, the woman participation. So the people say, hold on, it's not my political project. At this moment, I have another responsibility. So there's a fight to be a citizen, the construction of citizen. In other spaces, the colleagues are fighting to have to be in these places. They have this different kind of formation, political, academic, and you go in a voluntarily way, and you want to participate in this. So you are in the field. In the case of the women in the communities, they need to participate because in order to fulfill the the requirements that they want, they say, I don't want to participate because it's going to affect me. I want to participate next time, maybe not at this time. So I have been checking this kind of fights that they have, that this kind of approaches that they have. I don't know why this kind of commands and laws are done, regulations, but there's the big challenge. These tools, these methodological tools to incorporate spirituality, is created in order to do that, like to listen and to understand what it means to connect ourselves with the feeling and the
¿Cómo?
thinking, the feel things.
Ah, qué buena onda.
Because there
Gracias.
is based
Qué amable. Sí, yo les aviso.
all of this
Gracias.
thinking. For example, I don't know if you remember when I was talking about happiness, the concept of happiness, check what means happiness in your language. If you have profound translations, in my community is to have balance in my stomach. That your stomach be in balance with your body, with your emotions.
We know that the emotions are in the stomach, and science is now realizing, because they used to think that the emotions went in our heart, but we now know that they are in our stomach. That's why we get sick. Our illnesses come through from what we eat into our stomachs. And so but this knowledge that the traditional medics in the communities knew this from way back. and science is now changing to be able to see this. Thank you so much, Ileana. Thank you for the wealth of your sharing. We're going to give Norato, and with the same question. How do you integrate spirituality in your methodology for research? I think it's fundamental not to lose the point of view of the values of the COSMOVISION point of view. One of them is respect. Respect of the knowledge. Another one of these principles is diversity. Recognizing that not only I think, not only academics or universities, there's others ways to think. But in that diversity, how we look at things. And another point of view for me that is important, and trying to translate it in my language is different. It's difficult to understand the concept animosity when I understand that all the elements in Mother Earth have life in the cosmos. So how can this give me information, share their knowledge with us, a mineral? Are you crazy? How are you going to talk to a tree? How are you going to go talk to a stone? This is for the reasoning. This is not logical, but for wisdom, this has a lot of truth. Of course, this is what they told us. Have you gone to hug a tree and told them why you're sad? What is happening with you? Have you went to have you gone to listen to the birds and the joy that they give you? How do you come out of sadness, realizing there's life? We say the sacred birds, the sacred, they dance. They tell us when rain is coming. They tell us when there's going to be a cosmic event. If there's going to be an earthquake, they let us know. But we've forgotten to how to hear this. How to open our hearts for wisdom, to know. That would be fundamental in the research processes, opening ourselves to this wisdom beyond knowledge. And we're going to find something that is so beautiful. And we're going to decolonize the idea, for example, of the people that guess life, that can see the future. That's not my service. From darkness to light, from sadness to happiness. That's my service. From despair to hope. When I hear people tell me, somebody was telling me, I'm gonna die, but my daughter is making her house. Please help me so their house is beautiful. I'm not an architect. I'm not a engineer, but I close my eyes and I open my soul that cannot be seen. I'm gonna find the path. I'm gonna find the way. How can I reach this possibility of opening to wisdom? And another something else is that we have to be grateful, because I'm going to hear someone's going to open their heart to me. At least I can give them thanks. Recognize within my methodology as a principle to recognize the knowledge, the wisdom that Martha gave me, and I'm going to write it down. I'm going to write down that Nagumi gave me some knowledge, some wisdom, and I recognize her wisdom, because sometimes we recognize with respect to everybody, and please forgive me, I hope my words won't hurt you, but how can we separate Eurocentrism from North centrism? I have to mention X and Yay and all these people, to these authors from outside, to validate my knowledge. I'm fine without them. My mother and my father gave me life, and they guided me as best they could. So I have to, yes, of course it is valuable, and yes, that path is good, but it cannot be determined by what my people's path is. An example is what Liliana was saying. There was a conversation and listening to the original peoples to have a true dialogue for equality, for parity. So I have to give a place to this, to all of these knowledges. How are we going to find wisdom? The wah, that's the path. Finding the essence and take it from there. Our people are very philosophical. Our languages keep philosophy. They how I would love to speak one of the Asian languages. I would love this. I would, for example, in my country, they wrote about death. There's an article about death, but it seems that death is disaster and they died and this is horrible and everything ended. No, 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 no. It says ishkanik. This is how we say it in my language. You ish you kamik kam ik. They took him, her, the thread, the time that ended. He complied. There's philosophy in there that is my service as a writer, as a secretary, as a knowledge holder. Life didn't end. It didn't end there. It just became different. It transformed. As a scribe, I can see that it's not a disaster, that my father is with me, my mother is with me, my elders are hugging me, and this is why I wear this beautiful clothes happily. They're not missing. They're with me. They died. They're no longer here. No. He or she is within you, in your blood, in your eyes, in your hair, in your thought, in your smile. They are with you. They never left. So that would be something that I consider that we can advance with. How to translate justice. Let's imagine, at least in this country. In this country, usually a judge goes to the testimonies, but the witnesses that they are inventing and they are being contradictory. Is this justice? In my country, in my peoples, it's about truth. How to find truth. Maybe they're faking. How to find the truth. The eyes and the heart of the soul cannot be wrong, because I know how to feel when they're lying. And I'll do 2 or 3 questions, for example, and please forgive me for the time. For example, if someone, and we've seen cases like this, people are going to get married, and we ask them, why are you going to get married? Because she's pregnant. So you're not going to marry. You have nothing to do with this, because because you're pregnant. This is not, this is a gift. This is not an obligation. For love. Okay. For what? This is good. Okay. For what? To have children. But if you don't have any children, and this is why Pishap is so important in our people. This is a council, let's say. The seed, the time, what my elders gave us, my mother, my father, you probably, when I'm in my matrimony, it's going to be good for me. And I can remember when they told me, what is going to happen if your wife doesn't know how to cook? And please excuse my people's logic. Well, I'm not embarrassed because I learned with my mother. What if she doesn't know how to iron? And I know how to do it. I learned as well. I'm not going to get married for someone to serve me and I'm just going to be sitting there. They're going to care for me and I'm going to care for them. And that's life. This logic is not easily understood by Western point of view because they see in the matrimony as a source of a woman as a source of non-paid work for the paid workforce in the capitalism. And we don't see it like this. This is a challenge to be able to go into the philosophy that is held within the languages, and let's go back to our philosophy. Let's go back to our languages. Let's go deep within into the essence and find the wisdom and be able to transmit this. Please excuse me. Thank you to each one of you. Let's close here this forum. And we know this is something we see this in the peoples in the Maya community. We close in the Pishab with the council. We've heard that Pishab is the seed word in time. They're going to leave us seeds as researchers. The words, the council that we hear are seeds for later in time, not only now, but our life as researchers. So the question is, what advice can we give to the researchers from Africa, from Asia, from Abiyala, to build research processes from the wisdom and the spirituality of the peoples? And I'm going to ask my fellow researchers here to open your eyes of the soul and open your belly button and your heart to listen. What advice can Liliana give us to take into account when we're doing research processes to get back the knowledge of the people and the spirituality? Okay, I think that first you have to do an exercise of truth, of consciousness, and reality of why we are here today in this diploma course. What has been the intention to ask to be here today? Because from this, I'm very clear, and I say this in a lot of places where I participate. I have a political intention, and from there, for social transformation, I'm going to build my research. Why am I going to do this? If this may be in social networks, they'll say it's not here. If they're saying this is not your place, my friend, you must go, you must leave.
So if I'm thinking to construct my investigation, my research, in order to have a better class, it's not that, you know, that's not the space. If it's to publish, to give me a raise in my work, that's not the place. This is not the place if it's to do that. But if it's to reconnect, to understand, to commit myself, to transform myself and decolonize my thinking, not only my thinking, and also my own existence, then we're good. Yes? We need to understand what is our responsibility with respect to the knowledge and what we're going to build. So that's one of the important things. That's why it is really important to be aware, why am I here? What am I looking for? Where I'm going? Yes? Maybe I'm not in my community. We need to recognize, but something is going to take you there to your community. If I'm seeing the the indigenous people and indigenous women as an object, that this is not the place, because we're part of that process that we're going to do research. We are subjects, we're people, that we're part of part that speak with them. The indigenous men and women and the kids, indigenous kids, they are not object to do research. So if we're seeing it like this, it's not the place. Let's check what is bringing us here. What are we looking for? So this would be one of my advices with all my heart. Let's rethink. How are we thinking? How are we working our research? I fortunately, in my formation as from elementary and high school, I have this formation, decolonized formation, because my father was a music writer. We have a strong background. I live my life in an autonomous way. It is not difficult to me to speak my language in everywhere I go, everywhere in the world. When I go to the places, I have the possibilities. Where I have the possibilities to other countries. I do a report about my people. I have my files, because I want to transmit knowledge to my grandpas, to the youth, that they don't have this possibility to go to different countries. So let's check our ethnic category. So teacher Ivan has taught us really, really good. What implies that? The thread, the heart, the advices, the work, feel, think, and take into account your feeling in the process of your research. It is said that who is objective is not the science, but is objective the person that works in the subjective part. When you recognize that it is like that, you're admitting that you're working from this dialogue, from this subjectivity with the feel think process, as we were saying. Thank you very much. Thank you, Liliana. We're going to ask Ivan to share with us his advices. I think the advices is the most complex of life, because first we need to walk, then accompany in the pathway. I consider that we need not to forget. We need not to forget to ask for favors. Like ask, please. Let's not forget to think. I ask, please. I ask favor to know, to access the knowledge of a person, of a collective. I ask for permission because I'm going to show, and I commit myself to recognize their knowledge and wisdom. And that's fundamental. And finally, I'm going to thank them, because they give me that favor, did that favor to give me access to their information. From other point of view, the languages. I invite you to get into the philosophy of the languages, the original languages. It has a philosophy, I am sure of it, because the translation to English or Spanish, at the moment we do mistakes. A while ago, I didn't tell you good morning. I told you a cosmic event when I said kakarek. The clarity has arrived to each one of you. I didn't say good morning. If I said good morning, I would say ushpik. So that's the essence of the language. How to get into that. And also, I would dare to say, we went to the university, we went to school. I don't know, wherever we went, it is valuable. It's good. We have to recognize it. We know it has been internalized and it's part of our life. We're not going to get rid of that totally. But how to bring a balance the knowledge of the people's feeling. We're going to find the knowledge feeling. Let's open up ourselves to feel. Let's contemplate what they share with us. Wisdom, you contemplate wisdom. How do you see the ants? We can see the ants everywhere. What they are transmitting, what they are telling us, how to contemplate the movement of the circular movement of the birds. Sometimes they do that movement, sometimes in a place. How to recover, how to retrieve the knowledge? By showing it, I say, by writing it. It's only to position ourselves and recognize that the knowledge. And also, what life gives us, we need to become secretary of our peoples, or at least with the people that we're going to interact. We need to become secretaries of them. I'm going to write down what they tell me, not what I think of them. I'm going to write what they tell me. That's something that the academy, that's something that the academy, they dare to tell us that it's not good. But here it happens. I don't know in your place, but here it happens. The academy tells us it's not good. But finally, why are you here? Casualty in the world, it does not exist. I'm sure that the sisters that they are here, they have a gift to listen. That's a gift, and that's what you are born with. Okay, let's say I'm accountant. That's accountant is nothing related to the field, but I was born with this gift to listen, with the gift of having dialogue, conversing. That's the gift that life has given me. All of a sudden, you find that kind of talent gift, and to know that this is a gift is really beautiful. And this makes us to has given us to write the knowledge of our people, speaking in indigenous language. Thank you very much to each one of you, wherever you are. You may have well-being. Thank you very much, Liliana and Ivan, for sharing with us. I would like to see some reactions. How did you feel with this knowledge dialogue we had with Ivan and Liliana? Do you have any questions before we go to the next moment? Do you have any comments? You can raise your hands. Maybe 2 or 3 participations. Rocio, please. Thank you. I think that each day I wake up, I have a really important thing to do. Listening to my sister Lena and brother Ivan, the truth is, I have a really important work to do. That what are we looking for? In a quick way, I started this fight in a political way. I started because the system of political parties in my place where I am is the main political, but I had the opportunity to be indigenous representative for municipality. I don't know if it was by error or maybe because it was my chance. I went to the assembly. There were some brothers and sisters there that they wanted to choose a representative of indigenous people. There were other people that were ready to participate, and they were there. But the truth is, when you find out that there is a reason why things happen, so I by that time, now it's over this period of that I wanted to serve as a representative, as a party representative. So I I got close to my sisters and brothers. I wanted to understand this process, so they were not that they don't really understand this process. But now with this dialogue, the mind is starting to work, and it is saying, yeah, it is true. What I have done and what I have gone through is for a reason. So there's a moment. So there's always something. It happens something is for a moment. If I'm here answering the question that Liliana gave us, is because I have a responsibility in my territory. First, to wake up in the knowledge of our peoples, because here the topic is really colonized, but we still live in our own normative systems in our people. I had the chance to go to Oaxaca. The community, they live according to what the community they determine. They share. None of them is bigger than others. In my municipality, they say it is Oaxaca is really poor. It's not true. The poor are us that we don't understand our way of life. And I told them, even to my family, they are organized. Even though it seems like that we're good, we're not good. They are organized, and so what the brothers and sisters shared, they open up my mind. It is, I don't know if it's good, but I'm sharing this with you. I love this kind of topics. I'm going to do what is possible to motivate the rest of my people, and that my community would see something that is necessary to do. Thank you, Rocio. Is there someone else that would like to share? Sabato, for example.
Yeah, I think that all of the spiritual knowledge that has just been shared with us from our brother and sister is so important, especially as we move deeper into this work. Soon to begin our data collection. It's good for us to align ourselves first, but also see beyond pen and paper, and look at energy and intuition, and also pay respects to our ancestors. This was so valuable, and I was getting emotional watching. But thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you, Sabanto. It says user. I would like to know who is the one that has raised her hand. Let's listen to her. Mari Acosta. Speaking in Indigenous language. Good morning, sisters. To me, it is first, it is an honor to listen to the teachers that have shared with us their knowledge. I feel pleased with everything I have heard. I have heard attentively to both of them. When teacher Liliana asks, why are we here? Why we decided to apply for this diploma course? And what's our objective? What is my objective as a researcher? I'm a OVE. What's my objective as OVE for my people? What's my objective as a woman for my community? What's my objective as a woman, as a leader woman, as a mother, as a wife for my community? That's a question, really, really, really a big question. To give a summary, what my commitment is, as I was as I always have done during years. I've been serving my community in a silent way, doing things. I'm the kind of person that I like to accompany, I want to share what I like to do. If the rest of people want to say what I'm doing, it's good. But I don't talk a lot. I just do, because the other person that surrounds me are going to talk about me, whether I'm doing good or doing bad. When yesterday, wrote me a professor from Panama. Mari, please, this is urgent, she told me. So when they asked me it's urgent, so she told me, Mary, please send me a story of yourself, because we're going to postulate you. We're going to. What have you done? What have you done? How have you managed to be in that level that you are? What did you do? Where did you do it? Write your whole story. So I wrote down. So I thought to myself, how am I going to write about myself? I can't write about myself. I want other person to write down about me, but I wouldn't like to write down I did this and that and that. So I don't know if it's related to my my self-esteem or the empowerment of myself, but that's something that I need to work with. So I went to the teacher. I said to the professor, university professor. So yesterday, the day before yesterday, she asked me that. So I don't reply to calls when I don't have in my contact list, because I have a lot of people. So I reply to the person that I have in my contact list, because I work with in handcrafts. So I don't answer the calls that they don't have. They are not in my list. So when I received this call, and I said, I was surprised. I don't know why I was like that, but I replied back, and I called back, and I found out that she was a professor at the University of Panama. So I stayed myself so I said, no, I'm calling back. So she told me, I'm the professor from this university. Da, da, da. So she told me it is urgent. So the truth, I told her that I had to study a lot of things because I am studying at the university, and I was working with another diploma course. So she told me, please send your story, because we're going to look for a spot, because she belongs to a national organization. So I told her, Professor, I have this and this today. If I can, I'm going to send you. But if not, if I can't today, I'm going to send you the next day. But even I couldn't send it. So yesterday I was working on my assignment, because I need to work myself to generate something, economical income, to pay my needs. So all that knowledge that our grandparents gives us, it helps us. That spirituality and that consciousness that our grandpa gives us, it helps us to organize ourselves, to put everything in its place. So yesterday I forgot to do that, so I couldn't write anything about myself. When it was about 1 o'clock, I said, oh no, it's 1 o'clock. So I sat down and started to write. So I managed to write a page. So I told the professor, okay, professor, here I'm sending. I don't know if it's what you want, but honestly, I don't know how to write about me. I have done a lot of things. I don't know. I don't know how to write it down into a paper. So I'm sending you something, and I don't know. You try and investigate by your own about me. So to be short, I have heard the teacher Liliana the other teacher. I believe that when somebody is in this process of research, we don't stop investigating, doing research about our people, about our woman, our grandpa. If we're not here to collect that data and write it down in a document and use that document, that writing in a responsible way, because the government is not going to give that value. So we need to give that value, that we are the ones in a community that we need to give that value, that we're in this process. I'm going to do this work because I want my community to tell me, and what my grandparents is going to tell me, I'm going to write it down, I'm going to put it there, I'm going to tell my grandparents, this is what you have told me, because it's not written, so I want to write it, to give the value to this information, this knowledge. And when you use this knowledge and you use it as an authority within the community, even though we have Western laws, the Western laws, they must respect our way of living, and also the knowledge we have in our territory. We need to pass on that knowledge to our kids, our youth, and tell our youth, this is our book, this is our research, this is our knowledge. We need to pass on this knowledge. So we have that commitment to write it down and to pass it on to the new generations. So that commitment would continue with our youth, to endure forever with this knowledge. Thank you very much. So I would like you to listen, Townsend. What did you feel when you heard the exposition of Liliana and Ivan? I hope I'm pronouncing good your name. Let's listen to Townsend. I don't know if she can hear us. Not Thompson, Edwards. Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Not the same. Can you hear me? I think yeah, our screen is frozen. If anyone else has anything to share, a comment to make, to give, if not, we're going to close up with this. We're going to thank Liliana about the importance of the spirituality in the process of research, because they have shared what they have walked they have shared from their pathways. Okay, she has shared as an Indigenous woman.
As economists and those that have placed themselves as servers, to serve. Something I want to say that is very important, and I want to go back to it. I want to something I wrote regarding what they shared. The decolonialized methodology for researchers allows us to accept, recuperate the knowledge cosmos sensing, and to value our own ways of life from the original peoples, to look for liberating methodologies, creatively decolonialized ways to help us understand, to see, and to give life to the systems of the original peoples, from our own voices, from our languages, from our economic, social, and political systems. And what challenges do we have? And this is something they both share fundamentally: to deconstruct, to become nude from this point of view, this colonial point of view. We have to decolonize, deconstruct, and remove these theoretical, technical systems that have been imposed a lot of times and don't allow us to come in from our ways as Indigenous women into the communities and in our own communities as well. They've blinded us. They have cut off our own ways. So this is a great challenge that we have. Another element that is fundamental is going into, I don't go as a sociologist, anthropologist, sociologist, mathematicians. I come in as one more person who is part of the weaving, the web of the community, of the way of life of the community, to feel, to feel, think, to feel, to hear with our soul, to look with the sounds of, into the sounds of the soul for all this wisdom. Something else they said that is very important is this is going to allow us to go into the communities, to the people, to go back into ourselves, identifying where there is conflict, where is the Western point of view that has created conflict with the original peoples, and be able to see it and make it visible, but also have a critical point of view to be able to find in the communities, in the life, in the community web, to the different towns we go to, how the oppressions internalized and how conflict was created and how this has affected life. To be able to see this, the advice was very clear. I have a little advantage summary, but because of time, I cannot present this. The spirituality connects us with the cosmos, with life, and with ourselves. Something that is fundamental is to start listening to ourselves, and the philosophy of the languages, of food, of economy, of the justice systems, of the way we dress. This is where the knowledge is, the wisdom is. And it's also in the elders, the grandmothers and grandfathers who are open books, Mother Earth, in the women, in the children, that they're not so filled with things. As Ivan said, they still have their essence, the boys and girls, the essence of life. So it's important to wake up that part. I want to close this. I want to ask you if we could have 10 minutes, or should we just do the exercises? Or do we have a little break? Should we have a break, 10-minute break? Or we do some exercise and moving around and we continue?
I suggest we take some energizers, please. Then we continue. Thank you.
Okay, great. Let's advance with these exercises. So let's bring our hands down and our feet. Let's breathe in. When our air comes in, we fill our belly. Okay, so 1 and 2, we exhale. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now we're gonna extend our arms, move our heads back. Whoever can do this. We're going down. Let's stretch down. We still have our arms stretched out, but our neck goes forward and back. And we are greeting the sunrise forward and the sunset when we go back. Sunrise, forward, sunset, back. We're making little circles. We're greeting the Mother Earth, the fire, the water, the air, all the elements. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now backward in the other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to do this exercise. We're going to raise our shoulders We keep them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we let go. Once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, let go. Now we're going to do this. Let's sit down and let's stretch our hands and feet forward. And we open and close or forward and back, up and down, up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now circles, hands and feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we bend our knees and we move our feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now we open and close our hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We hug ourselves. We stretch out. We hug ourselves for time. 4 hug. First hug in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, and in the middle of the night. So now we're going to clap our hands. We're clapping to our 2 speakers, and now we're going to hear you. We had an exercise that you had to work on by region. So there's Africa, Asia, and Abya. And you're going to share with us these 2 questions. I hope you worked on this. You could have a representative. Hopefully you did it in a group. How do you integrate spirituality to your methodology, to your research with the Africa group? We're going to integrate this more. We're going to propose this protocol, and we're going in our methodology. First, it's going to be Africa, then Asia, and then Abya. Welcome. Please. We want to hear you. Who's gonna share for Africa? Who's gonna be the speaker? My sister's from Africa. Who's going to share, please? Abiba, are you gonna present? Who's gonna present for Africa?
I don't know if Halima is available.
I don't know.
If Halima is not available, any other person from Africa who is available can do the presentation. So Halima, Umul, Grace, anybody available?
Because our time is limited, we're running behind time always, the elders say. So I would ask you, whoever you can, if Halib is not ready, to please go ahead and share. Who's going to present, please? Someone? Maybe Habiba, or who else is in the team? Not Tosin, the 2 people from Africa that are here. One of you 2, please present.
Okay, to save us time, I'll try. Then I'm sorry, I wasn't really prepared for this actually. So this is like our cover page. Like the choice of the ladies there is actually to represent the African color, dressing, and diversity. And also introducing our group. Yeah. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay. This is our sister NATO Sims. Do you incorporate spirituality into your research? Map spiritual and religious landscapes, and also root her research in the ways of her people. And also engage spirituality and spiritual leaders in her research process. Can I please have the next slide? Okay, we have our sister from Tanzania who says, for her, integrating spirituality into her research is center indigenous worldviews, Maasai spirituality deeply connected to nature and land. Like she's going to include sacred landscapes, talk about animals and seasons, and also the spiritual roles. And also importantly, she stated she's going to seek permission, use respectful language, and reflect spiritual values. Okay, next is my contribution. I said I will incorporate spirituality into my research by conducting it in the way that reflects the ways of my people, respecting beliefs, knowledge, and know-how. Next, we have our sister from Mali's point of view, Humudiko. She says, in her research, spirituality can be engaged or integrated by recognizing that local indigenous communities in Dwenza view nature as sacred and spiritually connected to their lives by involving elders, spiritual leaders in storytelling, environmental walks, and interviews. She will honor traditional ecology knowledge and practices, respecting cultural protocols, and ensuring ethical ways. Can I please have the next slide? Okay, I think this is from Halima. For her, she says, integrating spirituality into my research is recognizing that spiritual life is not a separate compartment, but the very fabric of their existence. It's about moving beyond merely studying their spiritual practices to allowing their spiritual worldview to shape entire research process. She will therefore consult the spiritual leaders in order to get their permission, their blessings and insights. Then she'll also adhere to their protocol. She'll consider creative methods like singing or traditional performance, and also acknowledge the power of oral tradition and storytelling. Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay, we have our sister from Tanzania. She says, integrating spirituality of the Maasai people into her research methodology means honoring the way the community understands and interacts with knowledge, land, people, and divine Enkai. Here's how she'll do that. First of all, she'll ground her research in the Maasai epistemology. She'll treat the land as not just context but co-creator of knowledge. She'll use indigenous methods rooted in spiritual oral storytelling and also ritual observation. She will attend and reflect on spiritual ceremonies, e.g., naming, blessings, and initiations. Next slide, please. Okay, now we have, I think these are the second responses. How we are going to incorporate spirituality into our research. The first person says, I think that's mine. I will incorporate questions and prompts that will allow respondents to express spiritual meanings, teachings, and beliefs. I will allow space for non-verbal forms. I will engage spiritual leaders, gatekeepers for accessing participants and building trust. I will integrate spirituality into my research methodology by prioritizing storytelling, as that's the way I can get back to the ways of my original people. The next person says, to integrate the spirituality of my people in my research, I will include spiritual beliefs and practices as part of the community traditional ecological knowledge, engage spiritual leaders during data collection to capture how rituals, sacred sites, and ancestral values guide environmental protection. I will use storytelling approach. Will ensure that my research reflects deep spiritual connection between people and the environment. The next person says, I will clearly establish that the community retains ownership and control over their knowledge, especially spiritual knowledge. Agreements should be made on how information will be used, stored, and shared. Avoiding exploitation. Never exploit spiritual knowledge for personal gain or academic accolades without explicit consent and fair benefit sharing mechanisms. Thank you very much, and I'm sorry it didn't go as it was supposed to be since I wasn't prepared for this. So thank you. That's all we had.
This is great. Excellent. Thank you for the African group. You give me wonderful feedback and knowledge. So thank you for sharing, and thank you for giving all of this. So you can share this in their protocol.
We continue with the Asia group, please.
Okay, I'm speaking on behalf of Asia.
Voy a exponer a favor de Asia, representando a Asia.
Okay, so I'm not sure if it's going to get pulled up, but I'll begin reading. These are our group's contributions.
We don't have the PowerPoint slide. So if some of you have the presentation, would you please show? Who has the slide, Sabato, so we could project it? Or maybe you can send it to Liliana in the group so she can project the presentation.
Yes, I can also try to send it in this chat, yes.
Okay, very good. While she's trying to send, well, Sabato is trying to send the slide. I'm going to share something really important, that the advice that they have shared. First, to ask permission to start, to enter in the research. In the permission could be going personally asking to permission to the authority, but also in a spiritual way, energetic way in the territories, greeting the energy of the places, to the water energy, earth, the territories where we go in order to reach. Second, to ask favor with respect, in sharing their knowledge and cosmos field. What is something they want to retrieve from the Africa group? The earth, not just context, but as knowledge holder. Now we continue with Sabata. Thank you very much.
Okay, we can go to the slide 2. So everything is quite condensed for our group, just because we weren't sure how much information we could share in this time. But I'm going to read what Martha has contributed to her her question 1. Martha has said, I integrate spirituality into research methodology through dance, storytelling, and singing. And her answer to question 2 was, as a researcher, spirituality will be integrated through engaging communities with spiritual experiences to provide their insight and perspectives in the research, ensuring the methodology respects participants' spiritual values and beliefs, using in-depth interviews, observation, or narrative studies to understand spiritual experiences more holistically. And Megu, I'm sorry if I pronounce your name incorrectly. Her answer for question 1 was, I offer prayers and express gratitude to ancestors and nature before and after fieldwork. I also pay attention to dreams, intuition, and signs as spiritual guidance in my research. Okinawan Indigenous spirituality is present at every stage through prayer, bodily awareness, community connection, and reverence for nature, all of which guide and shape the research process. Sister Ronnie has answered for question 1. I will speak our language, protect traditional knowledge, and stay rooted in the land. Through ceremonies and learning from elders, I'll pass our wisdom to the next generation. In Bangladesh, I will uphold our values and center Indigenous ways within dominant culture. Her answer to question 2 was, I will share teachings, speak our language, and engage my family in land-based practices. By listening to elders and supporting youth, I will help restore pride, identity, and connection to our roots. My answers to question 1 was, I ground my research in storytelling, listening with care and presence. And 2, I honor our way of knowing by listening to my elders and women. I document with respect and share only what has been approved for the eyes of others. Our spirituality shapes what is asked, how it is asked, and how it is held. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to Asia team. Thank you for your answers. To root with the knowledge of our territories and my people. To get back to my roots, wake up and give value to this knowledge. To listen. And then share. So those, you can't have what you haven't shared. First, you have to think, and there we're talking about reciprocity. Give and receive. If I receive, I give thanks. And that's the commitment that the team you have. How are you going to multiply this knowledge and this with the permission of the elders? With the permission of the elders of the territory and the community. Thank you very much, Asia. Now we're going with Abiyala, please. Thank you to the group. Now we're going with Abiyala. Now, can we start, please? Okay, with your permission, we had some difficulties. We couldn't organize ourselves because they were having some different activities they had. But this is what we managed to present. So we have 2 slides. They are questions that I had the intention to answer. So I'm not going to mention what some pet colleagues have said. How do you integrate the spirituality in your research? We say that we are a collective of everything that exists. The communitarian Mother Earth. Since we wake up, we feel good with everybody. Talk and listen to them. There's an image in the presentation. That's a traditional ceremony. We always, when we always do an activity, an important activity in our community, we ask permission for that offering we do to our communities. So we concentrate ourselves in the part of sacred part of our community, which is the center for the ceremony, and we go there to do the ceremony, asking for strength, knowledge, and understanding to do, in order to do good in our different labors we have. So I told Liana at home I have this. I don't know if you can see it. We have this small offering, and I put it. I set it up each time we start our sessions, because I feel that's the way I need to get back to my roots. I need to have them with me, so in order to know what we're talking about and what we're sharing. In the offering, we set different colors like fruits, flowers. The flowers represent collectivity of all the countries and all the colors that distinguish us as human race. And that's what identifies in our journey. And also, in the first question, we're a holistic part of the daily life in the community, in the indigenous community. And Julia commented, having into account our elders and ancestors and all the nature that surrounds us. That's the holistic part of the spirituality. In the question number 2, they're going to how do you incorporate spirituality of your people in your research methodology? Our maternal language is really important because it keeps the knowledge, and it's a fundamental part for the topic of our research, and identify the problems and study the problems. If we don't know how to interpret our language, we will never understand the way of life, our way of life. I set there an example. I have placed an example. I was an indigenous representative in my municipality. In that image, I show the first assembly we had. In the first image, if you can see, we have few people in the community. But in that first image, the first photo, the municipality president designates to a person to represent to each community. So each community has a representative. So the president of the community decided. So that's not self-government. That was imposition of the municipality governance. So I got close to the president. I explained about the importance of our own system. and I invited them that all of them, like the majority, would get together in order to do a survey, and that's the second photo. That's the second image. It was really beautiful because the community was integrated in this as community, and that was the first time in the history of my municipality that we did a survey with the 98% of the attendance of the population, and there we selected our authorities with our own systems of rules. So there I can say through my language what's the importance of our system, and we need not people to come and tell us who is going to be our leader. So it was really good for me to speak my maternal language, and that was the only way that I could transmit to my people the importance to get together and organize. Now if I would have tried to explaining that in Spanish, we were kind of in an issue. But when I started speaking in my maternal language, they understood. So it was something beautiful that I liked it very much. And that I could say, in that way, I could tell my people that we need to go back to our origin. Thank you very much. Thank you to you, Rocio. Is there another? Is another participant from Abidala would like to share some information? But the idea is that how are we going to manage to wake up, to get back the strength of our spirituality and worldview, and how to turn it into a proposal, into a document, an action proposal for our research in our case studies? How do you go in each chapter, like the fabrics of our customs, in all the lines that would go in each one of the protocol of the case study, the advocacy plan? So that's the challenge we have. Yes, please. Teacher, for the young people, spirituality is the main approach. And we need to go to do a survey to the authorities, to the wise, to the organizations, to do service so that we can get the consent to do the research. But when they give us that consent, the spirituality is our main guide in this process, guideline. And this is where they're going to participate in all the research process until we finish with the research, because that's the idea, that they get involved with us. It is not good for me just to work. I don't want to make up nothing. I want to write down what they're going to tell me, what the elders are going to tell me, the wise are going to tell me, the authorities they are going to tell me. I'm going to systematize the idea, and I'm going to place it into a paper. So I think our ancestors, I think our communities, our leaders, thanks to them, we're going to have all this information. I'm going to go to the communities, and that we have
to be able to have a joint document together. Okay, we're not going to go into take out information. We're going to rescue. We're going to visualize cosmovision, knowledge, cosmo feeling, and the ways of life that are also science. They are also knowledge. I'm reinforcing what you're saying. That's what we're going to do. And my commitment is, when this document is ready, be able to go back and give it back to the people. And this, of course, is part of reciprocity. Thank you very much. It's giving back. I can't keep anything. I'm going to give back, or if I do this, I do extraction, epistemic extraction. If I want to look at things from a different point of view, I'm changing the point of view. There's a lot of things that are written down by those that are not part of the people, and they interpret from their cosmovision, from their philosophy, from their theories. This it for us, we have to take off everything. We've got to become we have to take off every this knowledge, this point of view, this epistemology. There's going to be two moments where you recuperate. There's all of this, and then two, from your own spirituality and your cosmovision, you create your own definitions. You reflect from what you've heard, not like this person or that person from their Western point of view or Eurocentric point of view said. No, it's from our own point of view. We have very little time. We have only 12 minutes to do our presentation. Can you see this? Can you see this presentation? Yes, give me a moment. Do you want to, are you going to show it, or should we? Yes, please show it for me. Thank you. We're going to close with this by bringing in what you've said and give more elements that might be helpful. What is spirituality from our own, from us as people? I'm going to try to show it. We have very little time, and I know some of you feel like resting. Okay, here we go. Okay, so let's go. Our second topic is spirituality and research. In this image, you can see sacred, what Ivan was saying, the marvelous, the beautiful, the wonderful, what doesn't have a material cost, but gives us life. The earth, the air, the water, the woods, the seeds, the animals, the people, the elder who's there, the grandma. She's quite old. She's very sacred. She gave her life. The mother, the father, the little animal that cares for us. Everything, all of them are sacred. That's our spirituality. Next one. Another important element of our spirituality is that it is based on the recognizing that everything is sacred, that everything is wonderful, is sweet, is big, and it is in every element of cosmos, Mother Earth, the planets, the moon, the sun, and everything in the cosmos is sacred. But it is also in Mother Earth, Mother Nature, and water, and fire, and the woods, and the land, and the sacredness of humanity. As it is quiche, there's no valuable. No, if they're indigenous, it's no good because they're from other peoples, other original peoples. It's not valid. No, for our peoples, we all are worth the same. The yellow people, the red people, the white people, the black color people, all of us are sacred. The women, the men, the people, the animals, everything are sacred. The women is not more important than a man. A scientist is more important than anybody else. No, for our peoples, there are no academic titles that are, this is humanity. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, you're people. If from that humanity, you are sacred. If you are sacred, and if my partner is sacred, and the table where I'm sitting is sacred, I'm not going to destroy it. I'm not going to hurt it. I'm going to care for it. This is what our spirituality says, in which the person is just a part of. We're not the center of life. We're not here to dominate, to destroy the earth, to destroy life. We are here to care for life. We are one microcosmos within that network. All human action and collective action is around sacredness. Where are we going to, how are we going to do research? Like we did it with some elders. First, the research was about health and giving birth. Who were the more knowledgeable ones? The midwives. What was my role? Going with them, ask for permission. We did a ceremony with fire around water. We asked for permission from the water, from the mountains. We called the energies of the people in the communities to ask for permission to come in. And why? Because everything we were going to look into was sacred. It was giving life. What is sacredness? That gives life. Spirituality is a way of life, and it's a horizon of life. As key elements of our spirituality, we have Mother Nature in the cosmos, within it, us, part of the web of humanity, of that web of life. Another element, the Pushkach, the heart of the sky. What does this mean? The sun, the cosmos has a heart. It feels, the sun feels. When we're burning the mountain, they hurt. It hurts them. The smoke comes up and hurts the ozone layer. So we greet a Pushkahag, the heart of the heart of the sun, of the cosmos, of the stars, of the energies, the heart of the Mother Earth, the heart of the sun, the heart of the water, the heart of the wind, the heart of the seeds, the heart of the animal. This is another element. The other is walking and living in time, not against time. Now we're going against time because I only have 7 minutes. I'm running. Living with time, if it's morning and it's the sunrise, I breathe the air. I become in balance with this environment, and whatever I have to do, I do it joyfully without running like capitalism wants us to. If I need to eat, I eat. If I need to sleep, I sleep. If I'm going to work, I'm going to work joyfully, and that's going with time. Uh, the death and life coming back. There is no death. Those that went before us, that went ahead, the person is going to transform. Life is death is rebirth. There, if we cut a flower, there's going to be another one, and then it shrivels, and then there's another one coming. Let's go to the next slide, please. Spirituality says everything has its own life, everything has its energy, its nahual, its star. It means it has their own shine, their own work. I don't need to say, I want to be like Rocio. I want to do what she's doing. Rocio was born with her in her day, with her gifts, with her star, and she's doing whatever she needs to do. Not a box. She has her own talent. She has her own mission in life. And that's why she needs to make her star shine and comply with her the work she came to do in the world. She has a mission to accomplish, not only people, but everything in the cosmos. That's why we love, we respect, and we defend life. And the Nagual, the guide of each one. Everyone has their heart, everyone has their essence, everything. Water has its energy. So I love it. I respect it. I care for it and I defend it because water gives me life, because oxygen gives me life, because forests give me life, because my partner gives me life, because this cup that has water gives me life, because Liliana walks with me in this path and she gives me life. You are life. You're all sacred. And we are all going to care for each other and protect each other. The person is part of the web of life. And what's their responsibility? To care for each other, to care for yourself. I'm not going to say I'm going to care for the sacred land, the sacred mountains, the sacred forest. If I'm dying, if I'm not caring for myself, have to care for myself too. I have to give back to Mother Earth. I have to give back to the cosmos, to the life they give me. That's why spirituality is the heart of our peoples, of our identities. And we live it every moment. Spirituality is not going to church and pray. Spirituality is since the sun comes out and I greet the sun, I greet the new day. In the middle of the day, I give thanks. I greet and I give thanks. And at night I thank I thank for every moment of my life. And it shapes our identity because according to our spirituality, this is the identity of our peoples. This is according to the cosmovision of our peoples, the original peoples of Africa. That is their life. That is the life of the people in Asia. And we live it in every moment. And you're born, when you're going to work, when you're eating, when we go to celebrate life, when somebody dies, when we do political action, when we defend our territory, when we defend our rights, when we defend the life of the women and our people. So we find it and we regenerate it in the sacred places. In every one of our territories, there's rivers, there's oceans, there's mountains, there's sacred energies. All of these sacred places are the fountains of the knowledge of where we interpret time. This is where energies are, the nawals, the guides, the caretakers of the peoples, and each one has their own strength. For example, today we have Ivan, who's the one that serves and listens and walks with the midwives, the ones that lift the spirits, the ones that care for the mountain, the ones that care for the water, the ones that care for the children when they lift the spirit of someone who's had an accident, when they go cleanse the paths, those that ask for the water. All of these beings are authorities of the peoples, and they guide and they strengthen and they push spirituality and cosmovision. Our spirituality is a strength that is linked to the integrity of our peoples. It brings forward, it's not about praying in the morning. Spirituality is integral. It is in every moment of the people and of the communities, the families. I'm going to show you the last slide today where we haven't finished showing them all. I just want to close with this one, and you have the in the platform, so you can see it later on. The essential needs and spirituality. We're not talking about the needs of the capitalist system. One is substance and the protection, the affection, that are elements that are fundamental of our spirituality. The other one is another one of the big strengths of our essential needs is understanding, participation, freedom, leisure, rest, creation, identity, and transcendence. And I'm going to close with transcendence. It's the capacity to live consciously as part of our species, the web of life, the planet, and the universe. It's the consciousness that I take of my mission in the planet, in life, and my mission that must be complied with. I'm going to close with this. Thank you very, very much. There was a lot of wealth in this session. I would have liked to have gone through the rest of these slides, and maybe I'll show them to you in the next one. I just wanted to look you into the homework. This is individually. Please prepare and send it and upload it to the platform. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for your feedback, for what you've given to this session. Happy morning, happy afternoon, happy evening, and thank you so much. I'm very happy I've seen you. Thank you, teacher. So we'll be paying attention to any announcements in the Moodle. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Liliana.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Hasta luego. Gracias. Adios.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Goodbye, teacher. Have a good day. Goodbye.
Thank you, Liliana. Thank you all.